Just gonna start this by saying, yes, I do have plaster on my chin. I very cleverly face planted into a pavement the other day and have now got a giant scab on my chin, scratches all over my chest and my hands. I'm having a bit of a time of it at the moment. Today I'm doing a book haul for a bunch of books that I bought when the shops opened up a couple of weeks ago. We've been in lockdown for basically since Boxing Day, and yeah, just in the beginning of April, mid-April was when shops were allowed to open up again, and I've been very lucky. Some very generous people have given me book vouchers to spend at Waterstones, which is the big chain that we have here in the UK. And yeah, of course, I had to go out and use them because that would be rude not to. First book I bought is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. This is something I've seen lots of people talk about, and I love that cover as well, like how gorgeous that is. And this is a sort of Nancy Drew investigation story about an Obituary girl who witnesses a murder and subsequently gets involved in an FBI investigation into drug-related deaths in her community. I have read this already by the time I filmed this video. It's great. I really enjoyed it. I really liked learning about her community and all their traditions and how they deal with death and just stuff like that. It's very interesting. It's similar stuff to kind of what I was reading about in Alatsaway, which also had more Native American representation. Very interesting to see a completely different village and a different community and what they do and their traditions. And yeah, like I said, just a very good book. Good bit of fake dating in here, which we like to see, and I really liked her main character. But I'll give more thoughts in my end of the month wrap up. But yeah, great book, great purchase. The next book I bought is Witches Steeped in Gold, which is set in a Jamaican-inspired fantasy land where two witches who are enemies have to team up and form an alliance. This is another one that I have read already by now, by the time I filmed this video. Again, very good. Not quite as enjoyable as I thought it was going to be. A lot of the things that I disliked kind of overshadowed the things I do like, and to be honest, I liked the world building and one of our three main characters. I didn't like the other two, and that kind of ruined the whole thing for me. Don't think I'll continue the series, but still good, and just another gorgeous cover. Next I saw a copy of We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faisal. I loved We Hunt the Flame and have been very excited to continue this series, so I was very excited when I saw that Watson's had a copy and I picked it up. Next purchase was The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. This is another one that I've just seen loads of people talk about, and it just sounds really cool. Just again, look at that cover. Oh my god. I'm really excited to read this. It's not too long, so I think this might be the next one that I actually read. But yeah, another really good book. I am very excited. I actually have no idea what this is about. I can't remember. I'm assuming magic and witches and stuff. Are we girls or are we demons? Are we going to die or are we going to survive? In this bold and immersive fantasy, a young heroine fights to save a world that would dare tame her and discover she has her own fiercest weapon. Yeah, I still don't know what that's supposed to be about, but that sounds amazing. That sounds cool. Very excited to read this. The next book I bought is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. I read The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, I believe is what it's called. Last year. It was just something I picked up on a bit of a whim, and I really liked it. It's basically, if you haven't read the book or read the first book, it's basically set in the 1800s, I think late 1800s, where it was very common for young upper class people around, I think 1819, I think, to sort of go on a tour of Europe, known as their Grand Tours, basically the origin of a gap year. You follow one main character who's the definition of bisexual disaster, going on his grand tour with his best friend, who he may or may not be in love with, and his sister, and shenanigans ensue. It's really good fun and I really enjoyed it. So this is the second one, which follows his sister, who, isn't sort of your typical Victorian lady. She kind of wants to forge her own path, and I believe is also asexual, which if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know I am too, and I love to read as many books as I can about other asexual people. So yeah, again, very excited to read this. I really enjoyed the first one, and yeah. Next book I bought was Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. I read The Assassin's Apprentice a couple months ago, and I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, if I'm being completely honest. Because I'd heard a lot of people would be like, oh, it's a bit slow, it's not quite what you think of when you hear sort of, a fantasy story about an assassin. You maybe think something a bit more thrown and glassy, but no, I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. So I believe this is the second one. I think I picked up the right one. Guess I'll find out. But yeah, very much looking forward to continuing following Fitz and what he gets up to and all the shit the poor boy has to go through. Another continuation of a series I like is Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. Again, I've read the first one, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. If you haven't read it, it's really good. It's about this girl who decides she wants to solve the murder of this young girl at her school who went missing and is presumed dead, and everyone assumed that she was killed by her boyfriend, who then committed suicide, but this girl and I believe the boy's family say no, that's not what happened, so she's determined to go out and find out what really happened. That's the first book. This is the second book. I really liked our main character. I really liked how the mystery was resolved and what all the plot twists are. I really like how this author writes those sorts of mysteries, so I'm definitely interested to see what happens in this one. And finally, I bought Sister Song by Lucy Holland. First of all, look at that. Isn't that pretty? And this is about sort of, I believe, a retelling of some Anglo-Saxon medieval Britain myth. Yeah, it's a book that it says this reimagining of The Two Sisters, which is an old British folk ballad. Never heard of it, but yeah, this sounds really good. And again, just that cover, oh my god, it's so pretty. Blue and gold is always just such a good decision in book covers. Like, you know, it's like with We Hunt the Flame, more blue and gold, such a good decision. We love to see it. You know, The Starless Sea, blue and gold, just blue and gold covers, so pretty. And finally, I pre-ordered The Dream Country and I'm finally reading it. This is something that came out beginning of April, mid-April. And because I pre-ordered it, it actually went to my mum's house because I wasn't sure if I was going to be back in my uni flat or not by the time this came out. So it was a couple of weeks getting it back to me because it's going to go via my mum's. This is so good so far. This follows three siblings, the god of sleep, the god of dreams, and the god of nightmares, who are all suspects in their mother's murder. And yeah, it's just so cool. The world building so far is amazing. And I'm really liking this sort of sibling dynamic you're getting. These are three very different characters. And so much has gone down already and I'm only about halfway through, so this is exciting. It's really good. Really great. I am loving it so far. And again, a great purchase. And that's all the books I have bought recently. Yeah, let me know if you've read any of those and if you think I'm going to enjoy them. If you want to see what my opinions are, I will always talk about them in my monthly wrap-ups. I'll give quick spoilers, and if I want to talk more about books, then there will be separate videos about those. I uploaded my April wrap-up the other day, so if you're looking to see what books I read last month and what my general thoughts are, please feel free to go check that out. But other than that, have a nice day and thank you very much for watching.